Hello again. Like all Marxist catchphrases and slogans, power to the people and such like, the exaltation that we should be anti-racist rather than non-racist sounds very direct and unambiguous. It is when we look a little more closely at it, and especially at the woman who coined the expression, that doubts arise. It was, of course, an African-American woman called Angela Davis who came up with the suggestion that we should be anti-racist rather than non-racist. At one time, the dream was that we would all be non-racist and ignore the colour of each other's skin, but that is so out of date now. Today, we must be active in the cause of anti-racism, led by pioneers like Angela Davis. Is she a woman one would choose to follow and whose advice on politics one would willingly take? Let's have a little look at her background. She spent 2 years at Frankfurt University and was a disciple of Herbert Marcuse, famous for being a leading light of the Frankfurt School. I suspect that some viewers will be drawing a sharp intake of breath at this point and remembering what they know about the Frankfurt School. While in Germany, Davis fell in love with East Germany, of which more later. On her return to the United States, she became mixed up with the Black Panthers. In the aftermath of a shootout at a courthouse in California, I don't know if anybody today remembers the Soldat brothers, 4 people were killed, including a judge. Guess who had bought the guns which were smuggled into the courtroom? Yes, that would be Angela Davis. She was acquitted of murder and later went to East Germany, where she was very friendly with Erich Honecker, the leader there. You know, the man who ran the Stasi and maintained the Berlin Wall. He was about to go on trial for crimes against humanity before his death, of course, after the fall of the Berlin Wall. The thumbnail to this video shows Angela Davis receiving a medal from Erich Honecker. She then went to the Berlin Wall and laid flowers at the grave of a border guard who had died while trying to prevent people fleeing to West Berlin. She said, "We mourn the deaths of the border guards who sacrificed their lives for the protection of their socialist homeland. When we return to the USA, we shall undertake to tell our people the truth about the true function of this border." She thought that the Berlin Wall was a good thing and that it was meant to protect East Germans from the wicked folk in the West. I'm not sure that history actually endorses her perspective there. Actually, Angela Davis had a knack for being on the wrong side of history because she was also a close friend of Jim Jones, who ran the People's Temple in Jonestown, Guyana. I'm sure that some viewers will remember the 900 people who were either murdered or committed suicide there in 1978. They drank Kool-Aid laced with cyanide. Davis said that she supported their efforts in the field of anti-racism. So is that the kind of anti-racism which is now advocating? One cannot help but wonder. In 1979, she received the Lenin Peace Prize in the Soviet Union. Before she went, she was asked for help in trying to get freedom of some of the refuseniks being held in Soviet prisons at that time as political prisoners. These were Jews who wished to leave the Soviet Union and emigrate to Israel and had consequently been locked up by the Russians. She said, "They are Zionist fascists and enemies of socialism." She intended, she went on, to tell the Soviets that they should keep them in prison. This is a very brief survey of the woman who came up with the idea that we should all be anti-racists rather than non-racists. Viewers might perhaps feel that they are not inclined to follow the advice of such a person when it comes to political matters, and also to ask themselves if Jim Jones and the massacre in Guyana in 1978 was really the shining example of anti-racism which Angela Davis seemed to think it was. I haven't given any links in the description to this video as I usually do, because All this can easily be found. There's a Wikipedia page on Angela Davis. I haven't said anything at all here that isn't easily able to be found on the internet. Just have a look for a moment at the thumbnail to this video and ask yourself whether or not someone who was receiving a medal from Erich Honecker, who she thought was a grand fellow and a defender of socialism, is really someone whose advice you want to be following.